Hey, everybody, welcome to The Point, where we speak with one really interesting individual for about 10 minutes or less. Today, I'm really happy to have my buddy, Joe Zuccarello. Joe is my go-to for all things grooming. He's, I think, 40 years in the industry, although he looks a lot younger. Joe, welcome.
Thanks again for having me.
You bet. Always my pleasure. So as we do this, as our listeners know, we do a quick introduction. So I'd like you to jump into that, and then we'll go for about 8 minutes of you making your point, and then we'll end with a shout out. So if you can start with a nice introduction of not only you, but also Groomer's Choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thanks for having me, and thank you, and hello to everybody out there. Joe Zuccarello, I am the Vice President of Innovation and Product Development at Groomer's Choice. I have really an honor that not many people have, and I have an honor that I have been in the pet industry now for over 4 decades. I started as a 13-year-old dog bather, never became a dog groomer. I didn't have that artistry or that skill, but I love the business so much that I stayed in it my entire career, and I have all intention of finishing my career in the pet industry. I love this industry. I started on the services side, right, overseeing some of first-class full-service pet care facilities, moved into product development, consulting, education there for a bit with Paragon School of Pet Grooming, and now at Groomer's Choice. Groomer's Choice is a manufacturer and distributor of all things that a professional groomer or a business that employs professional groomers would ever need to outfit a grooming salon and to equip the professional groomers with supplies and tools and equipment and such. Essentially, a one-stop shop for all things grooming supplies and equipment.
Literally a one-stop shop. And so when we at Impact always are telling our clients, please do more grooming, add more groomers. If you're not doing grooming now, do it because it's such a good recurring monthly revenue. You really do have a one-stop shop here. So let's jump right into your point. What point do you want to make?
Yeah. So, the point I want to make is that many of your customers, many of your clients, and really many pet industry professionals don't quite understand grooming and understand the value of grooming. So what they understand and what they know is some of the problems that might come from grooming, right? I mean, we've got a skill-based talent or force that we must employ, right? People that have a skill that is unique, which is professional grooming. But the point I want to make is while it can be a problem, if managed well, if led well, this can be a massive, massive contribution, not only to your top line revenue, but also your profitability, right? So yes, there's ways of reducing headaches with the processes, way more than we can ever get into in this session of the point. But the real point I want to make is, I think pet businesses need to look at grooming again. They need to look at grooming with a different lens. And the lens that I want to make a point of it is health through hygiene. Health through hygiene. Because at the end of the day, everything that we do in full service pet care facilities is for either the physical or mental health of the pets that we take care of, right? So we need to keep them safe, maybe while their pet parents are on vacation. Maybe we need to play with them and get some of their physical energy out during a daycare type of session, or a daycare enhancement, right? Exercising their mind as well as their physical being. But grooming is hygiene. And if we're going to focus on all health aspects of a pet, we have to also focus on providing hygiene. So even if it's full service baths, all the way up to and including full service haircuts, there's really two examples: coat care and dental care. And those Dwayne are the two most important features of health through hygiene. And I can explain those, but I'll come up for air and maybe you've got some thoughts or some comments around that.
Yeah, and just real quick on the point of dental care. I mean, that literally is a life and death situation for dogs. So, neglecting that is a tremendous problem. And if you have your groomers taking a look, even if they're just taking a look at it and elevating issues, even if they're not handling it. But I want to just touch on you made I think what was a really important point when you said you want pet facilities to take another look again at grooming. I think what has happened with a lot is everybody was fat and happy in 2021. You know, life was great. Business was incredible. If you missed a bunch of phone calls, who cares? There's more coming in.
Mm.
And I think because of some of the historical troubles with grooming, some of the personnel issues, some of the space issues, I think they just said, you know what, I'm done with that, man. I'm done with grooming. I don't want to talk about it again. But man, there's so many reasons. Your health issues, but then also the health of the business.
Well, absolutely, because I mean, at the end of the day, and that's where we can drive to is, let's say we take great care of the hygiene areas, right? Those, and these are just two, right? We could talk about nail care. We could talk about, I mean, but coat care, nail care, dental care, all of these things that professional groomers. Do you know professional groomers have their hands on pets up to 6 times more often a year than the pet's veterinarian? So think about how important that is. I mean, yes, our staff in the back, we might be playing with the dogs in daycare. We might be feeding and safely housing pets in our lodging capacities, right? But the groomer has their hands intimately. I mean, their hands are in fur on those pets,
Yeah.
in all of the nooks and crannies of that pet. That really, there's, other than a pet's veterinarian, there's nobody else that has. Not even the pet parent sometimes will notice things that professional pet grooming staff will. So again, if we're looking at our promise for the health and well-being of these pets, we have to have grooming. We have to have professional groomers. We have to have groom techs, bathers, all of these different functions that are satisfied in that department. So, and why is it so important? Well, I mean, really, truly, and you kind of touched on it. We want these pets to be coming to us for as long as possible,
Yeah.
right? For as frequent as possible, and the longevity, right? As many years as possible. So even if we can contribute to catching a lump or a bump or a tooth abscess or a footbed problem, if we can find those early enough and that pet can seek medical attention, we we quite possibly, and I don't want to be an extremist, I don't want to overblow something, but I can tell you, I can't count the number of times, how many times pet parents have said, "Oh my gosh, my groomer caught that lump or bump that I never even knew was there. It was cancer. We caught it early. My pet had surgery, some kind of treatment, saved its life, and now that pet's coming to that lodging facility 3, 4, 5, 10 years longer because we found something early." And I challenge everybody out there to find anybody that has their hands as in as many nooks and crannies and with the pet than grooming staff.
You're so right. I mean, it's incredible. I'm sitting here kind of in awe and feeling a little stupid because I've been in this industry for over 10 years and I never really grasped the obvious point that they're the first line of defense on a dog's health.
Yeah, 6 times more often, up to 6 times more often, they see the pet than the pet's veterinarian. So, yeah, I mean, it's that. And again, what's the yield? Is it worth adding grooming? Is it worth taking a second look at grooming or expanding with grooming? Yeah, because I'll tell you what, a healthy pet comes in more often for a longer period of time. Again, grooming also drives frequency, right? We want these customers coming in as frequently and being with us as much as possible. And if you don't offer grooming, you know what you're actually potentially inviting that customer to do business with your competition down the street.
That's right. That's right. And then you might lose the entirety of the services you're providing to that
You
pet.
may. You may.
So I think you made a very compelling case here for the why of grooming. Can you talk to the audience about the how for those who are resistant, those who've said, "Man, I'm just done with dealing
Mhm.
with groomers." What tips do you have in the last 2-3 minutes for how they can work through that?
Yeah. So one of the biggest complaints I get is that there's not enough groomers to go around, right?
Yeah.
I've heard that for 40 years. It's not a new challenge, right? It's not a new challenge. So one of the things that I think businesses have to do is just sort of embrace the realities of the challenges of anything that we do, right? We could try to wish things away. We could try to just kick the can down the street. We could pretend to, we could try to ignore it. Let's just embrace the suck, right? Let's just embrace
Yeah.
the suck. The suck is there's not enough groomers to go around, number one, right? And the groomers that are out there are either gainfully employed somewhere or sometimes they come with personalities that are hard to,
Well,
that
they're
maybe not,
artists
or
most
maybe
of
it's
the
not a
time,
right
right?
culture fit, right?
Yeah.
So take the bull by the horns and maybe consider, and I'm still, even though I'm not at Paragon anymore, I'm still a firm believer that if you really want to control your destiny, you have to figure out how to grow your own grooming staff, right?
Train
So
from
so
within.
solve the problem. Solve your own problem, right?
Yep.
Paragon's got a great program. There's other really great programs out there, but listen, if you can help somebody create a trade profession, right? That's what grooming is. It's a professional trade. If you can grab somebody who has the right attitude and culture fit and nurture that, you may be giving not only them an opportunity to create a new profession, but you're absolutely giving yourself the best chance of having somebody stay long term because they're growing up in your culture. They're not bringing baggage from other engagements or other maybe failed relationships with previous employers. So,
Right.
so really, truly, the key is you have to grow your own grooming staff.
Yeah, and the promise of a gainful career now, especially now for young people, AI is never going to take the groomer's job.
That's right.
That's never going to happen.
Nope.
Robots are not going to take a groomer's job.
You can't get your dog groomed
No
online.
one's ever going to allow that to happen.
That's right. You cannot get your dog groomed online. And to anybody out there that's a retailer, listen, you're competing in .com space against Amazon, Chewy, and everything else for pet supply sales. If you want to sell more pet supply sales, you've got to have a service that brings those customers through your front door. So if you sell supplies, even if you're a full service pet care facility and you sell supplies, if you want them coming back through your front door, you've got to lean into pet services. And there's nothing more frequent than grooming.
Yeah. Fantastic. That's a great point and put succinctly. Thank you. We're at the end of time.
Yep.
I would love for you to end with a shout out of any kind to anybody, to anything, just something positive that you're grateful for.
Yeah, you know what? I will say that I'm extremely grateful for the up and coming groomers that are out there. The people that are looking to this as a profession because I mean, who wants to be wet, hairy, smelly, potentially getting bit, cleaning up poop, maybe they're peed on, they're wet all day, they're hot all day, they're sweaty. Who wants to do that? You know who wants to do that? People that are passionate about their craft. So my shout out is to the up and coming groomers who are growing up in the system and acquiring the skills to benefit not only themselves, but the income potential for pet businesses who would employ them.
That's awesome. And the other thing is it's not easy on their bodies.
Oh,
It's a tough job. It's
it's very
physically a tough
physical.
job
I call it
on top
career
of all
Olympics.
that other stuff.
Career
You call it what?
Olympics.
Yeah. That's awesome. Joe, thank you very much. Talk to you soon,
Thanks for
buddy.
having me.
All right.